Hey, welcome back. I'm Brendan. This is Views on Brews, and today I have another beer from my German beer unboxing. This is Paulaner Munichens or Munchens Salvator. That's my cat. Salvator Dopplebock. It's a double beer, double lager. Let's get it open. Let's see what it's like. So Paulaner Brewery in Munich is known all over the world because they export their beers everywhere. So even if you've not been to Germany, you'll know about Paulaner. They're widely distributed, but this particular beer is not as widely distributed as a lot of them. Salvator Dopplebock, Doppelbock meaning double, Bock just meaning beer, but really lager. So anytime you see a Doppelbock, it's really a lager, unless it's Weizen Doppelbock, and then it's something totally different with ale yeast in it, or Hefeweizen yeast in it maybe. But anyway, a bit about this before we open the bottle up. So Paulaner started their brewery with this beer, and they've been brewing this beer for over 375 years. And they've refined the recipe, but it's still the same recipe as it was when they first emigrated. The monks emigrated across from Italy to Munich, and this is what they made. They made this beer actually for Lent. The monks were in a strict order where you weren't supposed to eat any meals during Lent at all. So what they did is they just brewed a really strong beer to get around it, which is a bit funny, but sure. It's 7.9%, so you can imagine what the monks were like after a couple of these and no breakfast. On the front of it you can see a monk. Now what happened, at some point the monks decided that they'd sell this beer to the general public. That got the attention of some of the brewing authorities in Germany. They weren't happy about it, but that was the beginning of Paulaner Brewery. And you can see this fella on the front of it here. He's probably what they would consider as one of their monks selling it to the general public. Salvator. Salvator means Saint Father or Holy Father beer. So any beer that you see that ends in ATOR, whether it's Generator or Salvator or any ATOR beer, it usually means it's a Doppelbock in the style and the region of Munich, Bavarian double lager beers. Okay, so that's a little bit. I don't know, I'm not too good on the history, but that's a little bit that I looked up. So it's the Paulaner monks that came from Italy and settled in Munich, strict order, brewed this beer for Lent, and it now has spawned one of the most famous breweries in the world. Actually it says 1634. 1634 is when the brewing authorities in Germany or complaints were made to the brewing authorities in Germany about the monks distributing this beer to the general public, and 1634 was when they decided, well, we'll make it a brewery, and that's what they did, and they've built a worldwide empire on the back of it. Okay, so that being said, this beer is brewed with Pilsner and Munich malt. Munich malt just means dark malt in Germany. It's not the translation of it, but when you say Munich malt, you mean dark malt, really. Pilsner malt is the polar opposite of it. So you've got a very plain Pilsner type, almost lager style malt, with Munich malts that are very a bit chocolatey, bit caramel, just to sort of flavour the beer. And then it's fermented with lager yeast, which is really cool. Can't read anything on the back of it because it's in German, but it does have, it mentions that it's brewed in the Bayerisch Reinheitsgebot order 1516, so it's got no adjuncts in it. Let's get it open. I'm thirsty. 7.9%. So Nice little hiss coming off the beer there. This is the strongest beer that Paul Anna make. And it really is, when you say it's like a liquid lunch or a liquid meal, this is how that name came about. This beer and beers just like this that were brewed by monks and monasteries all over the world during Lent, during religious, religious ceremonies where they weren't supposed to eat. So that's what they did. They just drank instead. That's why monks get that name of always looking a bit rosy cheeked. And fair play to the monks, had it right all along. A good friend, Lars Savage, has provided me with a proper glass, seeing as I didn't have one. And now, doesn't that pour a lot better? What a beautiful looking beer that is. I'm not sure what the camera shows, but this is a coppery amber, almost luminescent in like orange amber hue. It's so bright, crystal clarity, slightly off white head, medium, small medium, and one or two large bubbles. I can hear a decent amount of fizzing going on the top. Oh, the aroma of the beer is just, it's so inviting. It feels like you're going to get a meal. So I can just imagine the monks drinking this, thinking this is my breakfast, and let's have a couple more for lunch and a couple more for dinner, and doing just fine on the back of it. Okay, so anyway, yeah, appearance great, aroma. There's a light hoppy aroma on the top of it. It does have, I've taken a note, it's got Hercules and Hellertauer tradition malts in the beer. So yeah, there is a little bit of hop aroma on the top, but it's very light, very subdued. Yeah, just nice, very nice. Let's spin that head up and let's give it a go. Anyway, Prost, Sláinte, cheers, wherever you're listening from. And congratulations, in fairness, to Liverpool. I'm a Man United fan, but Liverpool have been great all season. So we'll celebrate Liverpool's win today. Wow. That beer is packed with protein and sustenance. This is a full-bodied beer. Not quite sure what I've done with the head on this beer. Seems to be fizzing away, the head. Now, maybe I should have cleaned the glass a bit better than I did. But yeah, the head has definitely gone away. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt, because I doubt that this beer is made to not have a head on it. So we'll just see. It has travelled from Germany, and I've shaken the beer around a fair bit as well. Yeah, once I've given it a proper swizz up in the glass, the head has come right back. Purely down to the way I poured it. Should have been a little bit generous with the pour. The bubbles now are densely compact. Just get a really nice malty aroma on the nose. The beer. Okay, so there's a reasonable amount of bitterness in this, but it's not sort of bitterness that lingers on. It just rounds out the mouthfeel and makes the heaviness of the beer more palatable. So it doesn't become sickly sweet and cloying. That's often the case in an unbalanced beer, where you take a good few gulps and you just think, wow, if I have the first one, could I have a second one? I doubt it. And it is a lager. So lagers are going to dry out. They're going to accentuate the bitterness. They're going to accentuate the malty flavors of the caramelized, over-kilned malts, the Munich malts that are in this beer. And that's what it's done. And it's left you with a really easily drinking, but still heavy, full-bodied beer. Okay, so toffee, strong Maillard, bready, a little bit bready, but not doughy. Bready and toasted Maillard aromas and flavour profile to it. You get a bit of the burntness in the back of your mouth that sticks around which I like. It's really interesting. Wow, it's such an amazing beer. This is a big beer. 7.9%. It's not, the color of the beer is just one of the most fascinating things about it. Anyway, this beer, what do I think about it? I love the history of it. I love the history of all German beers anyway. So just fun to look up about all of these Attor style beers, but to see the, you know, the picture of the monk on the front, and to realize that these beers have been brewed for like the last 400 years, and they were being brewed in all these religious buildings, really just for sustenance for the people that lived inside them. That's a pretty amazing thing in itself. And then to see that how good the monks were at brewing the beer. I mean, they've hardly changed this recipe. It's just got 2 malts in it. They've hardly changed this recipe since it was first created. And you can see 1634. There aren't too many breweries knocking about that can say they're 300, 400, 500 years old. And Germany just has breweries everywhere you look, that they've kept the brewing tradition, they've kept the culture, they've built upon it, they've made export industry upon the back of it, and that's what every single country should be looking to do with their breweries. This is a meal of a beer, a real meal of a beer. I'm loving the beer. The head keeps going down, but I'm okay with that. Not quite sure, but I have a feeling that perhaps the glass wasn't as clean as it should have been. That's my fault. But anyway, 7.9%. Paul Lanner, one of the most famous breweries in the world. I love the beer. I love the history of German brewing, and that's my view on this brew. Go and check it out, or check out some of the versions of this style of beer, and just when you pick them up and you read what they've called the beer, you'll see a lot of them end in ATOR, and then you'll know that you're keying into this style of beer. They're all over: celebrator, generator, enniator, refrigerator, doesn't matter. Anyway, cheers, prost, sláinte, and it's on to the next one.